Yeah, totally.
How was last night?
Amazing.
Have some of you lost some of your friends along the way because they're sleeping right now because they went too hard last night? So a little bit of that going on.
That was awesome.
Their mistake, because this opening panel, I think is going to be one of the most interesting ones in this entire conference. I'm not going to waste a lot of time. I think we should get right into it. Please give a humongous VeeCon welcome to the creative genius, Pharrell. One more time for the remarkable, thoughtful, creative energy this man has put in the world for the last several decades. One more time for Pharrell.
Thank you.
Let's start with that. I think one of the things that really excites me about Web3 is it's forcing many of us who've had creative tendencies, me included, to really ask ourselves, how far can we go into creativity? It seems like a real opportunity for people to express themselves in a way that was different than the internet because of some of the ownerships and the provenance and things of that nature. How do you think about creativity as a whole? Because I find you to be unbelievably creative from afar. So I think it would be a great insight how you define it, how you think about it, how you live within it.
Wow, that's a lot.
I tend to be a lot.
No, it's amazing. It's a great question. First of all, thank you for having this amazing event, allowing all these people to galvanize behind the idea that freedom is yours the minute that you realize that it's yours. That's what this whole thing is. That's what VeeCon is for me. Second of all, thank you for, acknowledging and even welcoming us here today, because I'm happy to be honored and a part of it. And to answer your question, we are all co-creators of the universe. Even when you are just thinking to yourself, you are creating, you are co-creating. Even when you're just formulating sentences, even if someone said it before, that's okay. We see a lot of the same things happening in different areas, and it seems like people are not connected and you can't figure out why they're doing and saying some of the same things. It's because we are co-creators with the universe. The universe is the creator, right? It was here before us, it'll be here after us. And our existence and everything that we do is a co-creation. And you have to ask yourself, every time you think or do something, is it an added value to existence, or is it a deficit? And not only to yourself, but your community and the things that you're thinking about, and the overall sentence that will be in history moving forward. That's how I look at creativity.
When did you have the first inkling of being creative? Were you drawing? Were you singing, dancing, something else creative? How early do you remember wanting to create or put things into the world? When did what we know today, or for some of us that have been fans for a long time, when we first saw you hit the scene, when did that in your mind start happening, and in what format? There's a lot of energy this VeeCon. I want to thank a lot of people. I've obviously been doing a lot of selfies and a lot of hellos. There's a lot of parenting energy at this conference. So many people talking to me about their parents, and even more talking about how they're thinking about parenting. So I think a lot about youth and the beginning and things of that nature. When I ask you that question, when did being creative first hit the scene?
Well, I didn't know I was being creative. What I thought is I was just being a young kid with an imagination like all of you. It's only when, society and the system, which is not perfect, It's fixed, it's not broken. It needs to be broken and healed again in the right way. But that system tells you that, you have too much imagination. Well, I know a lot of people who have, I wasn't diagnosed with it, but I think for sure I must have been undiagnosed as being ADD, because my imagination was all over the place. But man, show me one Fortune 500 company CEO that does not have ADD. How do you think they can keep up with all those things? Because they're multitaskers. And they might not be so proud of it, but that's who they are, and it's the reason why they can function on such a high level. And so, for me, I think we just the system has to change. All children, not all children process information the same way. Not all children apply information the same way. Some of you are graphic learners, so you're like avid readers, you read all the time. But then some of you are more visual, right? You need to see it. And some of you are auditory. You need to hear it. You're better when you hear things, right? And then they will tell you, oh, there's a disability. No. You're learning differently. Just like we don't refer to our brothers and sisters or fellow human beings as disabled, they're differently abled. You are a different learner. Period. And what I love about what they're doing right now, and I gotta sit up because it makes me sit back. I gotta sit up to just say this. What you're doing right now, you come here talking to the people about the blockchain and Web3. What you should know is, this is a moment in time where everything is changing right now. You all are looking at these old systems, you know that they're antiquated, you know that they don't work, and you are standing up and you're saying, no more. You are changing the paradigm right now. And it doesn't matter, yes, we're in a recession, yes, your crypto's gonna go down like everything else, but you know what? It's gonna hold because it was founded on something very different than what Wall Street was founded on, right? It was founded on something completely different. The Bitcoin is like a math equation that people are mining to figure out, whereas that was the origin of it, right? That was really smart. The origin of Wall Street, well, we know why it's called Wall Street, don't we? Because the first commodity that was sold on it needed to stand against it. Wall Street. You all don't agree with that. You all don't agree with the system that is allowed to just like create inflation. You guys, men, women, fellow human beings, you're different. You guys are challenging and questioning everything. And what this is about is you establishing what is a universal right on the blockchain. It's backed by something very real. And the mentality, the way that you guys look at everything, is backed by what is right. We grew up in a system that continues to take people's human rights. Basic education, a good education is a human right. Healthcare should be a human right. Representation should be a human right. But that's being challenged, and now they're looking at human beings and saying, oh, you were born this way, you need to stay that way. You're not, we're gonna take your rights from you. When the last time I checked, people don't necessarily go online. These people who are pointing these fingers, when you look at their names online, how come they're not using their government names? Right? It's, oh, Dusty Dorito Bag. Or it is...
Dusty Dorito Bag really pisses me the fuck off.
Or it is Lover of the Sopranos. Well, why are you changing your name? You want to know why? Because spiritually, you don't identify with your government name as much as you do the way that you want to identify yourself. That's a human right. And there's a difference between a gender and a name, but really it boils down to what does your spirit identify with? And we have to respect that human right. So all I'm saying is, this movement is so much bigger than the implication of the utilitarian potential for currency online is so much bigger. This is the generation that's going to change everything.
Something that halfway through that incredible comment, I was thinking about another word that I want to ask you about. How much of who you are today and how you create and think is based on curiosity? And how much do you even think about that? Do you think that, when I say the word curiosity, where does that take you?
Curiosity is it's the life force in all of us. The minute that you stop being curious, you're done. That's it. Your life is over. And it's actually the active ingredient to growth and not necessarily maturity, right? Because I'm a big kid. I haven't figured out how to grow up yet. And I have 4 children, and they're looking at me like, "Come on, Dad!" But curiosity is everything. It's the key.
I agree. I think, I said in my opening keynote, I'm going to push it again. As you look at the schedule today and you think about what you're going to do, please lean into the things that you might be curious about but don't know. People are so focused on being comfortable. That's why I'm trying to put so many people that lean introverted came up to me yesterday and say, thank you for pushing on the Discord and Twitter and on your opening keynote. I actually made 2 or 3 new friends for real. And I would also echo the curiosity thing. Please, once again, as you debate those from noon to 5 talks, try to lean into places that are less comfortable or something a little bit different. Well, what about NFTs? When did they first hit your radar? Who was the person that told you, or what was the article or the tweet or the conversation? What was the initial, explain that one more time. What was the initial patterns going through your head as you were sizing up and intaking the concept of an NFT?
I want to say it was maybe 2 years ago. I was late to it. And I think, yeah.
I made a face saying you were, no, I made a face that was the reverse. I think you were early into it, which is why, really the last 15, 16 months is when it really hit the scene. Obviously 2017 had for all the hardcore techies in here, there was the CryptoKitties thing of 17 that I hit some radars, but it was a Top Shot, not even on Ethereum, on Flow that got it really going in the fall of 2020. Then the winter and fall, there was a lot more conversation about CryptoPunks, and then it popped off in 21. So,
well, when I say I'm late, it's because I thought about it more than I did anything about it. And thoughts are awesome, because thoughts are things, right? But
like that,
it doesn't really matter until you do something about it, right? And so I was late doing something about it because I debated it, and anybody that I was talking to, just trying to get them to understand, they're like, well, why would you want something on your phone? What if your battery dies? And I would just be like, here's the thing, this is a generation that grew up online, and they spend a lot of time there. So their value is gonna be in, where they keep things digitally, period. And we do everything with our phones. But people from another time, they look at it and go, yeah, but you can't touch that. And I'm like, yeah, this generation really doesn't care about touching in the same way that you guys do. Things being tangible to them have a very different value. For them, it's all about things being experiential.
Bro, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I remember that touching thing, and my argument was the greatest things in the world you can't touch.
Yeah.
I can't touch my mother's love. I can't touch God. I can't touch my conviction, my optimism. you know, it was weird. One of the reasons I really liked it was because you couldn't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they didn't get that, when I tried to get them with their heart, I just poked at their feelings. I said, you asked me for a blue check mark on Instagram 6 months ago. You can't touch that shit.
Hammer time. And you know what? You can't, the beautiful thing is you can't touch it for a really good, fundamental, real reason.
Yeah, which
it's
you
not
can't
because
look it up.
It's not because it's not in Fort. It's not in Fort Knox. It's because it's protected by the blockchain chain, so you can't touch it.
Which really gets into the punchline, because if you can't touch it, somebody else can't touch it.
Right.
And now it becomes true.
Right. It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
It's beautiful.
No worries. So when did it click in at a certain point for you? Were you like hot on it right away? You stayed curious with it?
Because I started convincing myself, the more I kept having theoretical conversations to try to convince other people, it just started dawning on me more. And I'm in the middle of a debate, still talking, and in my head I'm like, damn, you don't get it. But you know what? This really does really make sense. I gotta get to this. Because it's like, okay, look, you're like the Mona Lisa, right? Do you want to get on a plane and go stand in line at the Louvre to go see the Mona Lisa? And how many of you are going to actually do that? Okay, there you go. Right? It's like maybe 4 people in the whole entire audience. But then you can have works that's on your phone and accessible to whoever you want it to be accessible or to or not, all based on what you want. That's a whole different way of looking at it. You don't have to get on a plane to go see it. You can see this artwork here, and so can the rest of the world.
You obviously made a huge impact in the music industry. Has there been a lot of conversation in your circles? Have you, within your own thinking, been thinking about how big of an impact this potentially could be on the overall music industry?
I think people are doing it because, yes, but I think it's like a trend. It's like, it's fallen into that trendy world, which could be a good thing for the sector and could be a not so fun thing. Not a bad thing, but just not so fun thing, right? Because you deal with like a lot of comment, you know, you deal with, you know, people who are just hanging around trying to catch a quick buck, like, you guys call them grifters. But the good side is that it is the propaganda, the positive propaganda that is this new paradigm shift in respecting creators and their works is here. And it's starting to have an effect on, like, you know, the tangible art world. Because these people are like, well, man, I just sell my shit one time and I get this one sale and then like it's worth 20 times X in like 10 years and I don't get a benefit, but then like our NFT fellow human beings, they get to. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I just want to say this real quick.
Please.
This is a super powerful room. And if you continue doing this at this venue, I'm predicting not even 2 years from now, this is going to be filled all the way to the top. Because this is a movement. As long as you all go out there and do everything that you're supposed to do, and it's just not about like you making money, because that's what people think. Proof of concept is, have you made money? No, proof of concept is, do you understand what it does, and are you using it, and are your lives fundamentally better? It's like, do you want to live for a very long time, or do you want to live very healthy for as long as you
Yes.
You know?
Well, listen, you just made a ton of Series 2 defense holders very happy. Because they've been hitting me up left and right saying they're ready to fill this place out if I just let Series 2 come next year. I'm not doing that. Just so but, you know, this is only a 3-year conference. We have to debate what 2025 looks like. Bro, let me ask you a question. I've been very hot on this concept of giving roses while people are still alive.
Yeah.
I've been really thinking about this a lot.
Yeah, the closest we ever got to it is the roast.
Right.
That's the only thing.
And even that has a level of brazzing in it, you know? That's like roses with like a couple of thorns on it.
It's mostly thorns. They're just painted red.
So I've been very hot on this. I've been doing it more myself. And when I've been interviewing on the podcast, I've been asking, you are such an icon to so many of us. The concept of you now having a few minutes to maybe on your way up, name a couple of names, maybe names that we don't even know, I think could be really nice. So when I ask you, outside of family, you know, professionally or personally, young Pharrell going up the game, maybe last week, if I said, hey, give a couple of roses out right now, who could we mention?
Man. That changes because I admire different things in different people.
Yes.
For me, the very beginning of all of it was the Q-Tip from the Tribe Called Quest. His music just, my brains could not make sense of what I was listening to, and it just, I became addicted to that idea of looping stuff being, you know, the most craziest chord progressions being looped because it made me physically feel something. I was kinetically moved by that. Stevie Wonder, you know, that guy just, the way he writes, the way he sings, yeah, he's just different. My friend Jay-Z, you know, he's just knocks down walls and leaves them open for other people to come in. I think that's like super important.
Agreed.
I don't know. There's a long list of people that I look up to in that way.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. Before we get out of here, what are you thinking about that you'd like to accomplish over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? What ideas get you excited, whether creatively or, you know, self-interest maybe? You want to pick up pottery making.
Couple things. One, our brand human race. And I'm feeling really good about that. That's like where my super focus is. Music will always be my focus, by the way. I don't know if y'all heard that new Kendrick album or the new Pharrell album, but music will always be the skeleton key that opens every door for me. But I'm really super focused on like human race right now. Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you. It loves you back. Also, you know, we have GOTA, which is the gallery of digital assets. Go check it out. And it's a safe space for like, you know, traditional artists who've done really well to have a place where they can transition into the digital world.
I saw that come through, and I thought that was extremely thoughtful.
Oh man, it's gonna be crazy.
You know,
my sister Nina Chanel is there. She's coming with something. Like, I don't want to give you guys too much because I want you to see it, but
we'll give them a little bit. I mean, we're here. Right, real quick on that Rhoda, you know, I think that I talk about this a lot in this community, and I want to bring this up real fast. I'm always so grateful for all of you that are hearing me, that when somebody comes into our Discord and says Gary Vee's a scam, he's a clown, I always say we need to deploy love and empathy to that statement. I'm always flattered that you want to destroy their face. But I'm just always happy when I see somebody get what we're trying to do and say, hey, are you okay? Sally Pants 49. You know, when I saw GOAT, I was like, there it is, right? Everybody in NFT space is mad at physical art space that's shitting on them, and you're creating a space saying, look, I know that this might be a transition, but let me create something safe for you
Yep.
so you can go in. I thought it was, I mean, hold on, I lose them, you know? Like, I really thought you caught, like, this is what I love about the way you think and do things. I thought that was a very important moment. A lot of times crews that are up to good and changing the world are very quick to bash the thing instead of understand where they're at and try to bring them to the thing. And I thought Goda was an example of that.
Thank you. And we welcome you to that world. It's going to be, it's going to be amazing for what it is that we're doing. The safe space part is like super important because not everybody is creating a safe space. They're helping you transition, but they might be, you know, it might not be what you want it to be in the end. And that's what we want, first and foremost, is for you to feel safe and for you to, you know that this is a space that like you can bring others, other creators. That's important. Also, Black Ambition is a 501c3 that we put together for historic Black colleges and university students. For them to, it's a prize for them to not only win, get some capital, but also, most importantly, get that strategic scaffolding called mentorship for when you're starting a business. But so we wanted you to know that, the Black Ambition Web3 Fund is up and live, and go check it out. You asked me about me, and I'm saying those are the things that I find important. Those are the things that are really important. But before I leave, I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about the power. First of all, give you your respect and reverence, because what you're doing right now is super amazing. Creating this platform for people to hear great ideas, great concepts, and to feel welcome and to feel included in a world that has different systems that don't really like inclusion as much. For him to create this space for you guys is amazing. That's one. But two, I just want you to know how powerful you are. And I want you to know the potential, as I said to you before, in the blockchain and Web3 is unlocking something that is scaring the system. They're working really hard to try to put laws together to try to legislate around your concept, your idea. You all are the most powerful human beings on this planet. You don't know it yet. And when you realize it, right? Because you are the many. I saw this in Game of Thrones. It was the greatest quote. You are the many, and they are the few. And when the many stop fearing the few, it's game over. Do I need to finish that, or do you already know?
We know.
So, I'm just telling you, you know when things are wrong, and you know what's right. And that is the world that you're building with the blockchain. And understand that that is powerful enough to push things in the right direction for human rights. I'm just telling you. Because that system doesn't respect anything but money. And I'm telling you, you all have the system in a chokehold. So keep standing up for the things that you believe in. Don't back down, because they need you. They're old, and I don't mean in age. I mean in spirit. And I mean in mindset. They're old, and you are young. And I'm not talking about your earth years, I'm talking about your spirit. You all are young, you're very powerful. Don't stop standing up for what you believe. You're going to change the world. You're going to change the world. And if you're with me, let's stand up for our guy.
There was only one made-up character in VeeFriend's world. Only one. The three-horned harpy. The trait of the three-horned harpic is to be thoughtful. This is one of the most thoughtful people I know. Let's clap it up for the legend Pharrell.